I'm not quite sure what direction this reading is going to go in, but here we are. We're moving into October 2025. The world is going through so much turbulence. There's so much going on, even here where I live in the state of Oregon. And so I'm really feeling like I want to tap in and see what's going to help this collective the most. What is the message? What's the meaning? How can we gain clarity on our purpose right now in the midst of very troubling times? So let's just get into it. When I shuffled the deck, the first card that popped out as I literally picked it up was this card, which is the Five of Pentacles. Upset, loss, distance from what makes you feel empowered. And then as I was preparing, getting everything ready, setting up my phone, getting my mic, I had dropped my mic and it had slipped down, and these are magnetic. And so it went literally and grabbed onto the back of my stand. I was like, this is interesting. It's all like prep for the reading. So it was a little chaos. Then I dropped part of my deck and I was thinking to myself, this is part of the reading, isn't it? And then the card that came up as the deck was split was the Temperance card. So this is going to feel like we're reconciling something that feels like we have been split apart. So stay tuned for the reading. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Carey. I'm a medium and a mentor, and I do readings regularly here, as well as teach classes and offer mentorship. So if you're interested, feel free to make a comment, and please feel free to like and share. We're heading towards October 2025. I really want to take a look at what do we need to know. What's going to arm and prepare us for these turbulent times? What's going to make us feel peaceful, aligned, clear, and centered? And what's been going on in the energy in general? I just feel like this is really important for us to know. So we're going to just dive into that and see, already chaos is happening. Things are very unpredictable. We have a lot of major arcana coming out already in this reading, which really doesn't surprise me. So I want to reference this by saying that this reading is going to get heated. We are going to be talking about some hot topics. So stay tuned because you're going to want to know what happens at the end. We're getting this King of Pentacles. And right away, I'm going to say this. We don't have room for kings. That is what I'm getting. We do not have room for kings in the Western world. There is no place for kings. And because of that energy, everything is topsy-turvy. It feels like structures are collapsing, and we feel winded and disconnected from what makes us feel peaceful and calm. So this is definitely like a deep upset. So I'm really speaking to my spiritual those of us on our spiritual path, those of us who enjoy things like freedom of speech, and also those who feel empowered when we can live in our sovereignty, make our own decisions. So that is you. This is your reading. And everything will be time stamped at the bottom as well. The other thing is I feel the goddess I work with, Hecate, really coming forth. She was making herself known to me just before the reading got started. And this is her deck specifically that I use when I work with her. So what she's letting me know, and I feel like she's influencing this, working in the Akashic Records with us, we have the Knight of Wands and the World card. And so what I'm hearing from her is she's saying that right now we're splitting into two different timelines, essentially. One is where we feel racked. We feel completely disconnected. We feel a deeper level of stress. We feel as though we don't have answers. We don't know where the center is. We don't know how things are going to work out. We feel, in a sense, powerless. And this is very much connected to the third chakra. So it would make you feel not in charge. It would make you feel toppled over as though someone else is making the choices for you. Does that sound familiar? So that is a plausible reality for a lot of people. Now, when we're talking about choosing, we always have choice. We have choice over our own vehicle and how we navigate things, how we move through life. And especially when we feel the most desperate, that's the time to really lean in and gravitate towards our spiritual practices and where we feel a sense of centeredness. And that's really what's coming up here. So what I'm getting is in this particular version of things. So if you have someone you consider to be a tyrant in your life, or someone who is overly controlling, or who's trying to dictate to you parts of your life, if you have that as a person, if you have that in leadership on your job, if you have that with systems you're dealing with, know that that is going to challenge you in the month of October. We're getting the Judgment card and the King of Pentacles. I'm also really feeling my throat chakra is starting to clear. When the Judgment card comes up, that is really a sign that this is a time for a day of reckoning. And it means that we need to lean into our intuition. We need to lean into our better judgment. We need to lean into not giving over to panic if we feel as though we're being impressed upon us by outside forces. So it's going to be really important for you to take charge of your own well-being. That's really what I'm getting. And so find ways you can feel empowered. They might feel as though they're not enough against what you're coming up against, but I want to let you know that absolutely this is going to be something that's going to be a game changer for you. And you're going to find yourself in a position of much more strength, much more clarity. So something that's I find very interesting is that when we are in stressful times and we feel as though we don't have a lot of options, it very well may feel like that. But what is also being illustrated here is that there's always a way to get help. There's always a way to get guidance. However, if we get stuck in the overwhelm and we don't know which direction to go in, we do disconnect ourselves from any type of help, whether that be internal help, help from our guides, our ancestors, or friends, or people that we're connected to. It's really a time to get back in line with that part of you that feels like it's not broken, that feels like it's got options. So even though this time is difficult, that's what I'm hearing. And this feels like an urgency that we're telling this story. This energy is here, that it's not time to get weak at the knees, that it's time to really be able to, Nine of Wands, fight the good fight. Now, part of it you want to lean into reminding yourself how strong you are, reminding yourself that you have options, reminding yourself that you've been through difficult things before, and that now is a time that you can remind yourself of those things you've already accomplished. So you have done hard things before, is what I'm hearing from her. And you want to take a piece of that and put it into the bag of knowledge that you have. It's like your book of tricks. This is what I'm hearing Hecate say. She's saying the key to opening up this next level, this other pathway, is remembering how far you've already come. Now, when we're talking about things such as, I'm hearing joint ventures. So if this has been during one of those very difficult times and you're needing to make a move, this could be with work. This could be a business you're starting. You're needing to increase your income. Possibly, I feel like I'm talking to people that maybe just got laid off or have been very disconnected from their financial stream of income coming in. And you're feeling as though, what do I do next? I'm hearing the words brace yourself because change is coming. And that's what's making you, again, feel very like stuck in your third chakra. But take a look at this. We have the Wheel of Fortune, which is the card of change. It means things are ending, cycles are moving away from what they once were into something else. And with the Knight of Pentacles, that's a little bit of the hard part because you're used to stability, you're used to structure, you're used to things being laid out for you. And so taking the moment to know that you can hang your hat on the fact that things will get better is not easy. This is a really important time for you to like lean into. If you meditate or if you journal or if you spend time connecting to nature, that's going to help you a lot is what I'm really hearing. And Hecate is always about connecting outside because nature will reflect to you, she's showing me, the energy of change. And especially if you're in the Western Hemisphere, we are going through the leaves starting to change. We're going into October. The veil is thinning. The thing is, what you're pouring yourself into, the new direction, is going to work out. Three of Pentacles, the 10 of Cups. I'm feeling this thing like your wings are sprouting and you're headed in a whole new direction. All right. I'm going to move into some oracle now. That feels important. And I'm going to look at some of the root, I would say, causes or reasons for you feeling so unsettled and feeling like, when will this journey end? Or when will things just get a little bit easier for me? So let's get a sense of that too. Now, shortly, I'm going to also be uploading the astrological signs reading for the month of October. So be sure to stay tuned for that as well. I'll link that at the end of the show notes here. Okay, this is it. Here it comes. Okay. So right away, some of the cards coming out are this very thing, separation. Do you remember when I said that there are two timelines being presented, right? There's the one that feels disempowering. There's the one that feels like things are happening to you, not for you, that you're in the middle of a problem and you don't know how to get out. So we have that energy of separation. Now, separation also can really happen just in our daily life if we don't feel connected to our own intuition and our own bravery and our own inner knowing, our vision. But this is what I find interesting. We have the card of the void coming up, and that's really where you dive into looking deeply into beyond time and space. You can do this through meditation or writing. And to say to spirit, okay, what do I need to let go of? Where is the place we're headed and what's happening? Because there's a blank canvas here. The beauty though, look at this transformation. We have the spring coming. So some of you, it looks like this is a transition which may be happening for a few months here, but you're on your way. That's what I'm hearing. You're also got these cycles of the moon coming forward. So that's likely that your transition might be full circle by the time you get to the springtime, depending on where you live. But for me here, we're going into autumn. So that looks to be like 6 months. But I'm hearing also the waiting's over. So sometimes practically what happens is there's things we need to invest in that will keep us going on the path of what we're headed towards with work or relationships or where we live or financial, but the investment is worth it. It will pay off. Yeah, see, here's the 6. Okay, here's the moon cards again. So we actually have 5 moons here. Look at this parallel. And then also we have the moon here, phases, cycles, intuition. We also have 5 moons here. That's making me feel like either we're talking about 5 weeks or 5 months, possibly. But things are feeling uncertain. I mean, that is just where you are at this moment. But I'm hearing, hold on. Things are going to get better. The fog is here, feeling lost. Again, like you're in the void. You don't know what's coming next. But also, we're seeing here, right, that you are going through a process with the broom of energy clearing, of refreshing, of setting up things differently. Again, the other path. And then also you're getting the walking staff. So this is support coming. And for me, that is definitely, you know, guidance, inspiration, wisdom. I also feel like that's Hecate's energy. So for those of you that work with her, that's a sign for you. And if you don't know that, you know, she's always a wonderful guardian while you're in transition. And I believe that's why she's coming forward today, because you're in transition. Okay, you're making your way in a new direction. We're getting mushroom, mortar and pestle, which is integration, subtlety, right? Breaking things down with the mushroom. So you are definitely in the middle of it. And the thing is, in these instances, I don't like to sugarcoat it, because I think it's better for you to know that things might be difficult. But I also want to remind you of how much in charge you actually are, how many skills you have, how many things you've accumulated and done by your experiences, by your knowledge, by your wisdom, and not to feel that sense of being lost and at the end of something, but rather like a beginning. All right. I think we're going to close this reading with the Mabon Seasons of the Witch. We're going to pull a card for us and just see what we're getting for the final read. Let me know in the comments if this is resonating. Again, remember, we're taking our power back. No kings. Let me know if that makes sense. When you have a dominating male energy, and it doesn't have to be a man per se, but a dominating male energy, an alpha that feels like it's got all the power, you have to know the only power that it has is what you give it. So remember that and lean into that. Okay, here we go. Shape-shifting. Transformation is not the loss of what once was. It is the evolution of a more powerful self. I really don't even, you know, like that to me is just the beautiful part of this whole reading, is that what you're growing through, is what she's telling me, is going to literally give you the skills and the leadership you need. And even though you feel like you're being tested, to make you strong and bring so much clarity. Thank you again so much for being here with me during this reading. Please let me know because this channel is so dear to me. I'm still growing it. Make a comment, please, and be sure to check out my other videos that I'll link, because I've got another reading coming up. All right, we'll see you in the next one.